Three mere mortals discover their ability to create entire universes with their minds alone. Upon discovering their abilities, these three, gods if you will, join forces to create the Dark and Stormy Nights, a supercharged team of creatives with the aim of helping artists and writers around the world while combating the forces of boredom and mundanity. They are the Dark and Stormy Nights. Alright, we are back with another episode of the Dark and Stormy Nights. And this is Loki.
Odin.
Tyr.
And I think today we're going to talk about dialogue. I'm having a few issues with it, so I thought I would ask these guys, and maybe you at home, how is the best way to go about dialogue? I'm very description heavy, and I'm hearing from people online that that's not necessarily the best thing. I like to spit out facial, expressions and inflection and things like that.
Hand posture, movements.
And I'm hearing a more skeletal dialogue structure is how it's done. Now, I like a lot of description when I'm reading it. What do you guys think?
I think there's a happy medium.
I agree. I think it depends on the type of dialogue. If it's an argument, I feel that description is necessary. Facial expressions and gritting out words and, grunting and arguing and yelling and all that, that's more important. If you're just walking down the street shopping with your buddy and going back and forth, maybe you don't really need the...
I don't write those kind of books.
I think Tyr said it right there, where if you're being expressive or emotional, like a violent, explosive, anger or something, instead of using exclamation points, or really any of that.
I've seen that too. Overuse of exclamation points bothers people.
I think any use is overuse.
Really?
Yes. That is where...
No, I feel like it's needed some.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think even a question mark is needed.
What?
No, I know it sounds bizarre, but I'm telling you.
But what if I'm asking a question?
Comma.
Right?
Question mark.
Quotation. You end that and complete the sentence with the description. I think the description is useful for any of those times where the dialogue is less than
so you're saying
a standard, not monotone, but
if I'm asking a question he asked? Is that what you're saying?
Porte-K.
Yeah.
I mean,
he asked yeah. Or, he queried, he inquired, any number of ways you want to say it. There's plenty of better ways you can put it. But yes.
But a question was asked. Do we not use a question mark there?
No, but that's what I'm saying is...
But if you're tagging on the he asked,
right.
I suppose...
if you start the sentence off with a...
So you're spelling out the question mark by saying he asked.
Yeah, kind of.
Yes.
So I'm using a couple
that's
words
all one
in
sentence.
place of a question mark.
So I'm saying you start with a quotation mark.
I don't feel like that's always necessary.
You say what he says, comma, quotation mark, and then complete the sentence, period.
All right, but I'm told that people use the word asked.
I mean, that's me.
Or said, right? Because we don't want to constantly say said and asked. And
I would like to do that no more than once.
No,
honestly.
I realize there's 1,000 ways to say
exactly.
However.
No. But it's not that specific word that people are saying is overused. It's the fact that you're stating it. And that's true. Your dialogue can go back and forth without the extra tag of he asked, he said.
Especially when the characters are known.
Expressed, blah, 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 blah.
Every character has a voice, and they have a personality. And after a while, the readers, if you're doing the job right, should be able to pick up on that. So you can drop all descriptors after a certain point.
He grunted under his breath.
If it's relevant, then yes, put it in. If that is something that you want the reader to pick up on, you need to lay it out.
I feel like you should add in those kinds of things as long as they're necessary. Okay?
All right.
So make it to where you can sufficiently tell who is saying what and in what manner. And as long as you've got the gist of it, that's what's important. As long as you're following along, as long as you're picking up the mood, that is what's important.
Oh, I gist all over the page. But,
see, I think of it as like a chili. You add some spice here and there. Don't overdo it, don't underdo it. You don't want it bland, you don't want it too rich. Simple as that. After a little bit of time, throw in another descriptor.
No, I want chili. Okay, look, my characters are very emotive. They're very passionate people. I write rogues, almost exclusively. I write rogues and warriors.
But are you saying all of your characters have the same temperament?
No, but they're passionate in what they are. I think that these people don't agree, even if they're on the same team.
Okay.
They are not agreeable people. There's continual arguments or debates or jeers and prodding each other and stuff like that.
Well, I hope it's lighthearted because that could get tiresome in itself.
Absolutely, and I do think that it does create rifts in the group, and they come back together, and they fall apart, and they come back together.
No, I meant in the repetitiveness of it,
So,
if it's overdone.
Yeah.
Another thing I think is important is to make sure is to put some of your description at the beginning of the conversation. It's where you're not always putting the he said, she grunted, or like something like that at the end.
Can you give me like an example?
Yeah, so like somebody makes they has their line of dialogue, and then in response, she blew out a deep breath, and then and then the rest of her comment. Or,
I've actually done a few in the middle of
absolutely.
the quotation.
Mm-hmm.
I find that could be rather effective, especially like if they're pausing, trying to gather themselves, not like go off the handle.
Right, stalked off a couple steps and came back to finish the argument.
I might catch a little shit for this, but some of the things cited as like the best dialogue sequences that have been seen are things like Pride and Prejudice, which felt bland to me.
It's kind of a dated reference for modern literature,
and I'm just like. Where the back and forth is so simplistic and everything like that. And, okay, they define maybe the first, person that speaks and then the second person that speaks, and then it's just a back and forth. And it's this set of words in quotation and that set of words in quotation.
It's not a play, though. You're writing a novel. It's real life.
But what I'm saying is, there's no, oh, I didn't get more heat out of Leslie. Now, at this point, it just feels like, I will open the door. You go ahead and open the door. I mean, it's so bland at this point.
All right, but also you're comparing an older work.
Right.
I'm not. I was told that this is exemplary.
Well, and I'm saying is, I don't know who these authorities are,
either,
but it's like art.
Literature.
Look at art. There was a point where we didn't understand 3 dimensions in art.
Okay, look.
Okay, perspective. All this change, it evolved. Writing's no different.
The way that people talk now is different from the way it was when people wrote these older works.
Right, and my favorite works are turn-of-the-century works. I like turn-of-the-century horror, my favorite stuff. Right? However, I am completely aware this is not the height of writing.
Right.
It is a guilty pleasure.
It's poetic, but...
Maybe in some regards, but the fact of the matter is that there are humongous holes in description.
Sure.
And hell, even plot, but I forgive these things because they are the foundation of what I love
some
today.
Of the older works that I've read are like so much description, like it's
sure.
You spend so much time.
Maybe that's why I like it so much,
painting
right? Because
the picture and describing the scene.
That's exactly it. H.P. Lovecraft, Orson Welles, Jules Verne, they paint a picture of what's going on.
All right.
And everything, and
it's simple. It's really simple. If it's not boring, all rules can be broken. But the fact is... Huh?
By whose standard? Because Pride and Prejudice is fucking boring.
Well, the same could be said for the descriptors.
Right? You have an objection to that.
And and there could be a lot of people who read Lovecraft are like...
I will give you that.
It's been 5 paragraphs. Yeah. What's happened? What happened?
Sure. Nothing happened in Call of Cthulhu. I love that story.
You do. But that's what I'm saying. If the common reader can accept what you're doing,
I get it.
It's legal.
I get it.
Okay.
But we like to act like it's not subjective, and it is.
It is absolutely
of course
subjective.
It is.
Now, here's the
thing. But
we're
playing to a large audience, and there are certain rules that can get you there.
Yeah,
okay,
but I mean, there's certain circumstances, too. Like, if you are following a story, and it's dialogue, and there's no, he said, she reacted, blah, 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 then that's fine if you're following the dialogue. And
right.
And
I have lost myself before in these.
Absolutely. I borrowed a book once, and I read through it, and there was 4 males.
Oh, God,
all talking at once, and there was nothing on these sentences for me to tell.
Oh, that's the other thing, yeah.
Who.
I've got 7 characters talking at the same time.
Oh, yeah, no, I need some descriptors then.
Yes.
Right, that's what I'm
2
saying.
2 pages into that book, I was like, nope, I'm out.
I can't do this back and forth thing. This doesn't work the way they're saying it works.
It can. Depending on, if someone's got, a Southern accent, and this guy's got an English, highly educated kind of accent, and this guy's speaking in some kind of Australian, okay.
Yeah, I know that you want to find them separate voices, and I get that.
If it's distinct, it's fine.
Many of my characters do have separate voices, but, okay, hear me out. I've got 2 brothers.
But first you have to establish
They're going to talk pretty close to alike,
Well, the
they were
personalities
raised
are different.
together. They're going to have very similar inflections and ways of speaking.
And you don't need it if you have a country boy calling the girl Darlin every other line, and the girl is responding in
I
a
feel
more...
like you're going to want to punch the country boy after a while.
Probably. But the point is that at that
Say
point
Darlin
you can
one more
tell,
time, you son of a
you
bitch.
can tell them apart, okay? Or if you have two extremely different personalities, like an overbearing male who's aggressive, you can obviously tell his voice from like a meek librarian. So depending on who's in this conversation. However, much like Odin said, I think that if your readers follow you along and your dialogue is acceptable, regardless of how many descriptive words you have in there or you don't have, as long as it's acceptable to your reader, it's a go. Like, the thing is, don't listen to every friggin' rule that you hear online, because there's conflicting rules everywhere.
Sure. Well, and this is one of my big problems right now, right? I mean, I've been reading all this stuff, and everybody... There's two camps, it really does seem. It seems like there's the writing snobs who have a specific way you're supposed to do everything, and they like to push that on everybody else, right? And then you have those people just trying to write a good story, and I don't know, that's... I think
Who's buying the book? That's all that matters.
Now, I mean...
The general populace, and that's who you need to write to.
I read on a rather high level, and I do appreciate big, older words that maybe encompass what some people say in an entire paragraph. But I like a lot of description, and I like, a lot of cool imagery. I'd rather have the story than proper punctuation and structure.
The story is important.
Well, here's the thing: your average person tends to write 2 grade levels below their reading level, and your reading level is not your graduation level. Okay, your average writing level is usually targeted around like 9th grade. Okay, so don't you do not worry about pleasing an expert. You want to make it marketable or targeting the audience that you yourself would.
I think never mind the nitpickers is what it boils down to.
What is
because
the best?
There's always, it doesn't matter. There's always going to be a critic. It doesn't matter if you write like a freaking college scholar, with his PhD. It doesn't matter. Someone's going to critique your work because there's critics everywhere.
And autocorrect.
There are a dime a dozen.
Autocorrect is going to hate everything that you put in a quotation, and that's fine. People in a quotation, you write like people speak.
I mean, spell
I
check
can't
is
even
there.
think of the book.
Spelling mistakes still happen. Punctuation mistakes still happen. And to be honest with you, for the most part, they're easy to overlook.
But sometimes people speak in broken punctuation.
I can't even think of the book that I read it in offhand. I wish I had thought. I just was thinking about this. One of the favorite dialogue sequences I think I'd ever read was set up more script-like, right? Mm-hmm. Where it said, is Al, and then...
that would irritate the living crap out of me.
Jenny, and this is what... No, I actually enjoyed it.
Oh,
because
God,
it was real
no.
simple. I was able to follow the conversation, Al paused once, and then he said something
I feel like that
again.
would take me out of the story.
Totally.
I don't know. I didn't have a problem with it. I was able to walk right through it, I can't remember the damn book now, though, but I don't know. It worked
Was
fine.
it The Harry Potter and the Cursed Child? I heard it was written like that.
No, I never read that. I actually... Rowling was okay. I read it to my kids and everything. But
I enjoy her works, but there are definitely some issues I would take, but her characters are forgive all sins.
Yeah, for me, I read horror and I write sci-fi, so... Mm-hmm. But, yeah.
But, no, I'm not going to read a play. No. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't mind... I don't want to read a whole play, but I don't mind if the dialogue's written that way, I guess.
But it's kind of
because it's simple.
A weird syntactal break from the rest of the story then. Like you got all this description of things happening, and then the conversations...
I see the name, and then I just imagine the person.
It's just a weird structure.
When I'm reading, I get imagery.
It makes sense to do it that way. I'm sure it's clear and easy to read. I just feel like it would take me out of the story.
Yeah, it would totally break the flow.
What takes me out of the story is when I'm reading it and there's no description, and it's just quotation marks.
And
you're saying you prefer this technique that I would consider bad over other things you've read where people didn't give you anything to work with.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
they're both bad. They're both bad.
The only difference is the one that I liked. They said the name first. With the one I didn't like, they didn't say the name first, and now I'm stuck trying to remember. Okay, wait a minute, who said what?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is there's a happy
both those
medium.
authors have failed you.
But I see the one where nothing is said about anything is largely accepted, and I'm like, this isn't
Largely
good. To
accepted
me,
by
it's
who?
not good.
By who though? That's the thing, and it's the same thing with using said. Everybody's like, oh, said is dead, and use these more descriptive
Who said?
options, blah, 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 blah. But then other people will say, yeah, that's a myth. All you need is said. Well, you can't please everybody, and you're never going to be able to. Because everybody has their own
I'm not going to say
opinion.
said is dead, but it's definitely limping.
Right,
It's got
said
its
Fred.
place.
No? Okay.
Whenever possible, always find a new way to phrase something. Use a synonym, as long as you don't go too highbrow that you lose people. You know, they don't want to have to constantly look up every word you're using. But, I mean,
think it's
try
got
and
its
vary it a
place.
little.
I don't
Show
know.
that you have a
I think people are
vocabulary.
getting too uptight about some of this stuff, you know? It's
No,
like, just
no.
try to
These-
enjoy the damn story.
These
Right.
aren't nitpicking rules. These are, you're hurting my brain with your repetitiveness.
Sure, no. I'm not saying that you're not right there, right? I mean, you get too repetitive, you use the same descriptor too many times, and you use the same...
He said, she said. No, I don't want to hear
Yeah.
any-
Right.
yeah.
That's when it's a problem.
It does start to irritate the brain.
It has
to-
its place, but it's certainly not something that should be used every
It's
time.
no different than Bill did this, then Bill did that, then Bill went over
Sure,
here.
but like he, you know...
C-spot, run.
It just sounds childish.
Yes, it's repetitive, which
and
is
for
one of the
adults,
other-
they can't deal with it.
The repetitiveness is an issue, which is what we were talking about with the overusing I in first person. It's a repetitive thing. At any time anything is repetitive, you catch it in writing. It's something your reader will pick up on, and it's something that will get annoying in a hurry.
Yeah, Tyr's talking about a conversation we had briefly before he came on here about first person. It's nearly impossible to escape the use of I.
Right.
I, me, my. You're going to use it over and over again. But just a quick look at an author that we enjoy quickly showed that he avoided this by just constantly deferring to the scenery.
Right. You got to think outside of yourself a little bit. Writing in first person, it's nice when you're reading because your reader feels involved in the story. You know, almost like they're seeing it through the narrator's eyes. But under the same token, you have to kind of come out of yourself a little bit and make sure that you're spending time describing the scenery and what's going on, and every sentence is, and I did this, I did that, I went through them, and you know, like every sentence starting with I becomes repetitive and very hard to read at some point.
I don't like reading first person overall, so I don't write in it.
Oh, I enjoy it when it's done well.
I don't
I do both.
really enjoy it. I don't know.
I don't know. I identify with the character. If I like the character and I like the author and his voice, I can be sucked right into being this person.
Yeah, it's harder for me. I haven't found a first person story I really enjoy. So, and I don't like writing it either. So,
Well, unfortunately, a lot of poor authors will go to it quick, which probably kind of taints your opinion. But when somebody knows what they're doing, it's an enjoyable experience.
I'm sure
I
that
agree.
they're out there. I'm yet to find one that I liked. So, you know, I know that it's a personal preference.
Yeah, I don't really have a preference. I have the what is it, I guess third person, where it's a narrator, like you know, and first person books, and I've written both as well, and I like them equally. But I do find it to, you know, it is something you have to consciously pay attention to when writing in first person, is just making sure that it's not every sentence is an action. I'm doing this now. I did this, and then I went here.
Right.
You know,
Although that is a whole other challenge.
action scenes.
No, first person.
Yeah.
Because you don't necessarily know what someone's doing in the enemy encampment. There's no meanwhile, you
Right.
know.
That's the
Right.
thing is, it's very difficult.
There's no god level bird eye view of what's
but
going
you
on.
can do multiple points of view. You know, writing in first person, you're writing from your main character, and then you write from another character's point of view.
Yeah, I use.
I don't know. That
lot
could be a
of-
bit
A lot.
disjointed. I
It's
don't.
really not. I read tons of books that way that switch back and forth between two characters.
I lay a lot of
and I
Easter
find
eggs
it
and
easy.
clues, and it's very hard to do from a first person.
Yeah, that is
You know,
Although you know, if
things
you,
that your narrator doesn't know, because your narrator has to know everything in first
Right.
person.
for a detective novel, it's perfect though.
Yeah, because the mystery stays with you.
Right, you're localized at that eye level. You know, you could only.
That's a good point. You're right.
So the other issue I'm having is, well, I don't know. I write a lot of action scenes, a lot. Almost
Yeah.
every single chapter has an action scene, and pacing seems to be an issue for a lot of people. Now, I don't know if it is for me or not. One of the things that people seem to have an issue with is describing every detail. Now, I don't describe every detail, just the major blows. You know,
I
Fights.
have trouble
Right.
with this because I feel that if I don't describe it well, especially with an action scene, it's hard to understand what's happening and to believe the skill level involved with the character.
Oh yeah, too little detail and you're lost. Too much detail and you're bored.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm bored
feel like-
writing it, but it's like how do I convey it
Well,
so
that's
that the
what I
reader
think is-
even
I feel
understands
like
it?
the major moves and the close calls and the major injuries are what need to be conveyed. You know, like you can't do every single trait of, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like you can describe it as, you know, a little bit more dancing around and, you know, like there's got to be some brushing over. But I mean, I feel like as long as you're getting the major close calls and the major injuries, like that's really what you want to get across.
How dare you? How dare you?
I believe Loki has found an oatmeal cookie.
That I thought was chocolate chip. How dare you?
There
oh my
were
god!
chocolate chips.
Oh,
It's not my fault you found the wrong one.
that's not okay.
I'm fine with it.
That was great. That was like the
And there is a
ultimate-
place for description right there. If you could be seeing Loki's face and
that
the
was
grimace
like
he's making right
the
now.
ultimate look of betrayal.
I was betrayed. Oh my god! Get that shit away from me.
Oh my god, my stomach hurts.
Okay, where were we?
Action scene. Like I said, I don't think I have this problem as much. I am tempted once in a while to go into much deeper detail than I do. You know, but you know, I think dialing it back just a hair. You don't need to say everything that happened. I don't need to hear about every little hand wave and motion, all the ridiculous, you know, flourishes. He took crane pose or tiger or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I have a character who kills 25 people in the matter of one chapter.
That's a lot going on.
And but I don't give a blow by blow,
Right.
you know. But you do hear about how I killed 25 people,
Right.
you know. So
I think it's the same answer either way. It's give just enough description so people aren't floating in space. They're not an infinite void with nothing going on, and they have no idea what's happening or where they're
that's
at.
why I thought the dialogue.
Give them just enough, and then keep the
that's-
story moving.
That's a very good way to put it. And I think that when in question, have somebody else read through the scene. See if you lost them, if they thought it was too descriptive or too drawn out, not descriptive enough. Get some feedback.
Bad comes to worst. Kill those 25 people and see how bored you are describing that. So, just a little advice. We'll be back in a little bit with our next section.
Hey guys, if you like what we're doing and you want to support us, go to our website at thedarkandstormynights.home.blog and click on Support the Kingdom to check out merchandise and various ways to keep us going.
Folks, we return with the show. I am recovering from a betrayal, as there was a oatmeal raisin cookie that was perpetrating being a chocolate chip cookie.
I don't
Use
know
word
that it
wrong,
was
but
really
it was
masquerading.
pretending to be a chocolate chip cookie. The son of a bitch.
It was in a container labeled oatmeal.
So it
but
took-
sure.
It took 9 chocolate chip cookies to scrub this from my palate, and an entire cup of coffee. So now we are back, and my betrayal has been sated. But I guess we want to get a little bit into tropes, right? I mean, now I don't think they're always a bad thing. I think
No, definitely not. There's a couple that I really like,
there are some good ones out there. You know, I mean,
but there's also some that need to die.
oh, there's some absolute garbage. You know?
There's a difference between trope, cliche, and stereotype.
Okay, but I mean, we're going to group them together for.
Right. I'm just saying, it comes down to, is it tired or does it still work?
Well, I think there's an original way to do everything. You know, we
That's
brought up,
fair.
we brought up the Odd
Some
Couple.
of them just really need to die,
You know,
though.
the Odd Couple can
love
be
that.
a stupid trope. However,
Okay.
we were talking about how it's used in Deadpool multiple times. You know,
Yeah, but
and-
you're okay. I think that you need to elaborate on the Odd Couple and point out that it's the two conflicting personality types, the opposite ends of the spectrum,
Who are
The-
friends or at least forced to live together or
right?
something.
A partner in some way. So you've got the morally flexible Deadpool versus the very straight laced Colossus.
right. Yeah, and I love that. I love the dynamic
Or
there.
the super grumpy best friend to the super sunshiny,
Right. So
character.
yeah, there's plenty of. It's used a lot, right? I mean,
It is, and it can be used very well.
but it may even be overly used.
Sure
However,
it is, because it's funny.
Yeah, it's usually for comedic purposes.
I am refreshed when it is used in a fun, new way, or even when it's not entirely new, but they did a good job with it, like in
Right.
Deadpool, or
Right.
like I've got my guilty pleasure, the originals, that vampire show or whatever, with the two brothers, Klaus and Elijah, which I feel are kind of an odd couple, situation. I know most people are gonna be like, "Oh, you watch that," but
As Odin looks on blankly.
I don't know. I think it's good.
I only know these characters from the Vampire Diaries, which I can't believe you just made me admit that I ever watched.
I don't watch the rest of them.
Odin continues to look
what
on
it is?
blankly.
I like the raw bloodlust of Klaus. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's definitely an evil kind of a-hole, but
and Elijah always trying to redeem himself, but
I guess.
yes, it's
Elijah
garbage.
wasn't
I know.
completely a good guy either, though. From
I
what
know
I've
it's
saw.
garbage.
I honestly
No, he
don't
is
know
not.
if it's
He is
garbage.
not a
It
good
looks
guy.
like garbage, but I don't know.
But that's the thing.
Maybe it's not.
No,
Hey,
it's
their
garbage.
characters
But
do kind of grab onto you. You get attached to certain characters.
I mean, everybody watches
the
garbage.
story, though,
but just
is
not that
it's-
garbage.
it is mostly overdramatic teenage crap, but it can also be interesting at times.
I don't know. I mean, do you have a favorite trope? Is there something that you know?
The
I
Odd
have
Couple is
no
definitely.
idea.
I think
What about
that's
your
my
writing?
Because
favorite.
do
Do
you
you
even
have
think of a trope as a trope until
Okay.
it's pointed out?
Well, here, why don't we do some of the ones that we hate, and then fill in the ones I'm sure we'll pick out which
Okay,
ones we like.
the damsel in distress, the weak female that needs rescuing. That one I despise.
That's gotta
it.
die. It's gotta go.
I like strong female characters.
I do too.
Well,
but
not just weak, but the testing. Like, she puts you in a precarious situation to see if you're worthy of her love.
Well, that's I don't think that's specifically the damsel
That's
in distress.
manipulative.
That's still
That's seen a
damseling.
lot.
It's still damseling.
That's seen a lot in the love triangle or whatever, which is terrible. It's
Love
just like,
triangle's
oh,
another
which
one
one
that
of them
needs
is
to
going to
go.
win my love? I'm sorry if you're putting it between me and another guy. Pick the other guy.
I will legitimately avoid books because of the love triangle. But while we're on damsel, I also think that ties in with the White Knight BS.
I was going to say, the love triangle also leads into the bad boy. Because, she picks Edward over the devoted, somewhat stalkerish werewolf.
Edward was not a bad boy.
No, not a real bad boy. He was the safe bad boy. He was bad enough to appeal to that,
Okay, let's not use that as an example.
Why not? It's a stereotype of the umpteenth
It was
degree.
an entire book of stereotypes.
Why are we talking about
It-
Twilight? It's so
because
bad.
it's
I
the
know.
definitive of this example.
But I agree.
Nothing has been more
The White
definitive.
Knight is a piece of crap. And,
Right.
and
the White
thing
Knight is your incel.
Well, that's the thing. So it's used in stories, right? This guy who rescues the woman and expects some kind of reward or something like that.
Right.
But these are real people. Like, there are people who actually do this shit.
Sure.
No, I was going to say, in fiction, he does get a reward.
Well, he does. Most of the time,
Maybe
it ties
that's
into
why
the
some
story.
guys
He
think
came
that it
to
works
their
out that
rescue,
way.
And now she owes him,
Right.
probably.
In reality, he gets very angry and bitter.
Right, and plots how to kill women. But under the same token, the damsel and the White Knight kind of also,
They deserve each other.
in the
You
same...
know they do. They do.
They kind of
truly
do. But in the same vein, the fake strong female character is absolutely just as annoying as the damsel in distress.
Yeah.
And this is the female character who is written as some strong female, blah, 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 but then as soon as an alpha male gets a hold of her and starts treating her like crap, she just rolls with the punches and lets this man bully her, essentially.
I'm trouble
blame her
seeing
for
that
everything.
example. Can
Oh
you-
my gosh, romance novels, this is everywhere, and
Oh,
I
wow.
freaking hate it. This strong female character who's got, powers or
Okay, see, this
strong
sounds more like
opinion.
a dominant person
Yes.
seeking to be dominated.
Not seeking to be dominated, she falls in love with the alpha male. Now,
Well, why else would she
The
then?
domineering
Got
alpha
the wrong
male.
guy.
I'm not reading this romance novel, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't read
No,
romance.
no, it's not just about like one romance novel. This is a character type that is throughout. So
I'm just
many
saying,
freaking books.
if she's always being
Here's-
in this dominant
Here's the thing about the alpha male is that while there are alpha males that are written well, and I am good with a dominant male character, that's great. When he mistreats the female character, he's an asshole, and I no longer give a shit what happens to him.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, is that I am so freaking tired of reading these books where alpha male, in this writer's mind, equals asshole, okay? Because you can be a dominant person and have a strong personality and still be respectful to somebody you're supposed to care about.
I don't think that people in general understand what an alpha male is, right? I mean, they have this idea that that's what it is.
That
right?
they're an asshole?
Yeah, they're a piece of garbage and
I
they
think
push
that
people
they do.
around.
And
and
sociologically
but that's
speaking,
not what an actual alpha is.
No, it isn't.
They don't actually exist.
So
It's a misnomer.
But
It comes from a failed
in
study.
a writing scenario.
Right, but the idea is
this
that
a type.
an alpha male would be a leader, not a bully.
Dominant.
you
Right.
know?
Right.
And I've seen that plenty of play at bars.
And leadership isn't about pushing people around or forcing people to do what you
Right.
want.
Being a dick is confused with confidence.
Leadership
Yes.
is about getting in there and getting your hands dirty with the rest of the people
Right.
involved.
And there's
you know?
so many times, and here is why it specifically pisses me off in romance novels, is because you see this interaction playing out between an alpha male who keeps mistreating this woman, essentially, plays with her emotions, abandons her at a time when she needed
Right.
help or backup, or, a partner who had her back, maybe, because that's apparently too much to expect out of a relationship. And then in
I
the
really
end,
need to know what this novel is.
Huh? No, this is so many books.
Folks,
this is an entire...
if you have an example of this, submit
God,
it.
it's
Submit the
everywhere.
name for Odin so that he can read this.
But the idea is just that, then the female character grows and the alpha male changes.
Oh wait, I've seen 50 Shades.
And can suddenly learn to treat another
Is it that
person
a-hole?
as a human. What is it?
The guy in 50 Shades was a total a-hole.
I
sorry.
didn't read that.
Well, that was a whole
No,
other
they
set.
made movies. You didn't have to read it.
I didn't watch
That was a
them
whole
either.
other set of psychological
That was
disorders.
a whole lot of issues with that story as well. But yeah, essentially, it's this female posing as a strong female when no strong female would ever let a man treat them that way.
Do you like Stockholm Syndrome? That's how you get Stockholm
exactly.
Syndrome.
Like, you kind of have to demand a little bit of respect as a strong female character, and I just hate it when they parade this character in an unhealthy relationship as a strong female, when in reality she's the one doing all the work, taking all the blame.
You know what, though? I have a bad habit
like,
with
it's
my
just-
strong female characters that they really don't need anybody. You know? So it's almost as though they forgo the relationship when I feel like they're truly strong. And I don't know that I do it on purpose,
Nobody
really.
truly needs anybody.
but-
You have somebody else in
Yeah.
your life because they make it better in some way.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm willfully single, and I feel like strong people are, maybe willfully single. I don't know. And maybe that's just
Sometimes,
something in
sure.
me. But that's the thing. So I don't know. I've got 3 strong females in the one story I'm writing right now, and none of them are with it. And then again, the 2 strong guys I have don't have anybody either. So I mean, it's not.
Well, I think you have a danger that when you try to work against a trope, you can become a trope of the opposite degree.
I think it'll take more writers writing the way I do to make it that.
I think that fake strong female characters,
The forced opposite is what I'm saying.
or maybe even fake strong male
Yeah, I'm not forcing
characters.
an opposite though. I'm not.
Both. It is both. It's a fake strong male and a fake strong female, because
Yeah.
both of these fake characters, they have all kinds of personality flaws.
Well,
they have all kinds of, and not in a good way, not in a realistic way.
Right.
They have them in a way that makes them not capable of a relationship.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. Okay, so we also have the villain without a cause, and the evil for the sake of being evil.
Like there's no motivation or
yeah,
explanation.
and it's just like maybe I get where you're kind of
It's a
going
one-dimensional bad guy.
But yeah, like I don't
It's
know.
fun in a farce like Dr. Evil, but
Or a kid's cartoon.
Oh, yeah,
you
it's
know,
something
that was
funny,
it Penelope
sure.
Cruz or whatever that was, that with the twirling mustache and the railroad tracks, isn't that?
Penelope Pitstop. You're talking about
Yeah.
Dick Dastardly.
Yes.
So
But the whole
Hanna-Barbera.
the Canadian Mountie
Like
guy.
he's before my time?
Maybe.
Oh, they're before everybody's time, but they replay the hell out of them.
Oh my god, I
Okay.
must be old. 'cause
Cartoon
those
Express.
are not before my time.
Yeah, so I think the solution
The
there
Wacky
is,
Racers?
is give your bad guy some depth, right? His
Yeah,
backstory, even if it's never going to end
everybody-
up in your story.
Dude, even if your bad guy is bad, like, just an evil prick, there's a reason why they're an evil prick.
Yeah, if you can write your good guys as evil pricks, come on, be a little more creative with your
Well,
bad guys.
like, even a demon, I think, has something they're going to want. A vampire has
There's
something they
always
want.
motive. There's
I'm
always
actually
motive.
okay with the supernatural being the personification of evil. Like,
That's fine, but I think
there may
evil-
not be a motivation.
I
in
think
that
evil
scenario.
has a motivation. I disagree. I
Evil
think
has
what
a
does it want to do?
motivation.
Is it just trying to destroy good in the universe? Why is it trying to destroy good?
Yeah, why,
what is
otherwise,
it?
why would it
I mean, it could be
go
literally
through
its
work?
nature. I mean, it could be more
It
elemental.
could have a destructive nature. But to have a pinpointed motive against your main character, there has
Well,
to be
I'm not saying specifically. I mean, the main character might just come across him, but I'm saying if he's a demon from hell and his only function is to be,
I
violent
disagree.
and dangerous
Is it to
murderous.
create the downfall of heaven, to make Earth a battleground? There's always something.
Yeah, I feel like there still is
I'm just saying
some
it could
to get
be,
out of hell.
It might be a generic.
All I'm saying is
kind
it
of
could be
motive.
forgivable when you're dealing with elemental evil, but if you're dealing with humans, no, it's ridiculous.
I don't like the whole. I just cause chaos. Why? Why do you just cause chaos? Why do you keep killing teeny boppers in the woods? Why do you keep doing that?
Like, I can accept.
You mean because he's the hillbilly zombie?
Whatever. I mean, there's any number of things. It's like I like my machete and it must get bloody. It doesn't make sense. No, give me a reason.
I agree. I've seen it to where
Yeah, technically, even crazy people have motivations. You just don't know what they are.
Yeah,
They might not make
but give me
sense
some
to
kind of
you.
clue.
Yeah.
Well, here's my feeling. While I think it's
Something can be
forgivable for
created for
elemental evil, I don't want to read it.
But then the creator had
Yes, the
an
creator
agenda.
had the.
I can accept elemental evil, but I don't want to read that. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying it's forgivable, but it's not my preferred
boring.
thing. It's not my preferred thing.
It's boring. Like, just I don't know. Give me some reason. Develop the character.
I feel like I agree. Develop the character.
All right. What about the King Arthur or
Commoner into princess.
Commoner into princess, the chosen one?
Yeah, the whole Princess Diaries and all that. The makeover queen and take off her glasses and ponytail and it's the most popular girl.
So in the case of those characters, it's the nobody who becomes a somebody.
Right.
I can, if the character development is good, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it can go either way.
Like, my characters are really inconsequential to the universe and become consequential to the universe, but because of circumstance and...
Well, technically, every hero does. You're just talking about doing it instant
I
unarmed.
feel like it's a
Yeah,
very
I don't like
common...
that.
But that,
give me development.
But that's actually the story. The
Yeah,
development
yeah.
comes from the character
But that's what I'm
adapting to
saying.
that.
Yeah, it's the variation there is if you're just going for the old King Arthur tale, I pulled a sword out, now I'm somebody. No.
Well, there's a lot of backstory to
like
that, actually.
the King Arthur story, but there's plenty of stories that follow this same pattern that
Well, King
feel
Arthur's
overdone.
technically a chosen one. I mean...
Okay, so the Neo
so
Matrix
chosen
and all
by-
that.
Right.
The Lady in the
Which,
Lake or whatever.
in itself, is somewhat lazy, but I can still...
I don't know.
I liked The Matrix, so it's like, all right...
Well, it's philosophical, but on its face, if it was just a device like that, I still might accept it because it's a bit of a,
Well,
you know what, though? The Matrix
it's wish fulfillment.
was a good story.
Fulfillment.
Well,
The
and,
first one.
and I think that
It was a good
We were
story.
discussing off the air and everything that he may have been one of many chosen ones, so that any one of them could have succeeded.
Yeah, I get that, but-
and I guess that's a little more acceptable in that terms. But just this one guy was the one
I
person
don't
who could have
know.
pulled
Like,
the
I
sword
feel
from the
like
stone.
But I don't care.
Whether you can pull off this trope or not depends on how good your story is.
Yeah.
Is it interesting? Is it, original in some facet? Is it something we want to read? Like, that's what makes the difference.
Well, my point is this: like, the chosen one would be boring if nothing would challenge him and he's ultimately superpowered
Right.
like Superman. Okay,
Yeah.
That's no fun. But if he gets from zero to the end in the very first chapter, it's fine because the rest of the book isn't about
I
that.
catch so
It's
much-
about him dealing with it and overcoming other challenges.
I get so much hate for that because I cannot stand Superman.
No, he's
It is the most boring.
Yeah,
hero.
he truly is.
And nothing threatens you. Oh, well, we'll create Doomsday. No, he's not going to die. Stop doing it.
Well, he's never breaking up with Lois Lane.
Right, yeah.
He can't die even when he does.
So,
Yeah.
no, it's boring.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, I agree.
All right, so we have good falls in love with evil or good falls in love with bad. So, like the cop falling in love with the criminal.
The angel falls
Yeah,
in
the
love
bad
with
boy.
the demon.
Right, yeah. I mean, I can't think of a time where I've seen it done very well.
I've read a couple of
I'm not
books
against
where
it.
Worked.
I mean, in a comedy, Raising Arizona.
I didn't
I
like
was
Raising
gonna say,
Arizona.
I feel
What the
like-
hell is wrong with you?
I didn't like
Get
it.
off this.
I was
I
bored.
don't-
We're kicking you off.
No, I don't remember it. But I have read a couple of books where it was done in a funny way that was awesome, hilarious, even.
I'm still stuck on this. Really, man.
Raising Arizona was boring.
I mean, it is very cliche. It's done a lot, but I feel like it can be done well.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't hate it. It's not one of the ones I really feel needs to die. If you can pull it off, go for it.
Yeah, I guess I don't have a good example of when it's been done well.
One of my favorite books it's freaking hilarious.
But anything in pop culture that the audience might know.
Well, and I've
No,
seen it in
I'm sure
TV
it's kind of
shows.
obscure.
You know, like I've seen it done with some TV shows, and it was done okay.
Okay, what about Lucifer?
Well, yeah,
The detective and the devil.
but
Sure.
see, I don't agree that Lucifer is evil in the show.
I don't think he is either.
You know, I think he is, misunderstood, and we don't actually
Didn't
know
we
all the
actually
story.
have another trope like that? The bad guy is the hero?
Yeah.
He's an anti-hero.
All right. Well, the next one we had was Coming Home. So it's where the guy went to the big city or something like that and came back to his small town. And this one is way overdone. I've seen
I'm
it
having trouble picturing it.
100. I mean, John Cena's
is done a lot.
John Cena's been in half of them.
So what are these, like rom-coms?
Sometimes, or he was in the Marines and everything like that, and he came home and there's trouble in the bayou or something stupid like that.
I think I've missed a lot of John
It's-
Cena
I see-
movies.
you know what,
You
though?
should.
I see it.
You should miss them.
I see it a lot, but I don't feel like it's a big part of the story.
Yeah, it's just kind of the Kickstarter of the story, I
Right,
think, a lot of times.
exactly.
Oh, well, we didn't know this big tough guy was going to be in this town because he wasn't there before. And then it's
Well,
like...
I mean, at
I
that
don't
point, you could be
know.
talking about Roadhouse.
I
'Cause,
I feel like
Because Swayze knew karate.
it's common.
But that was just about kicking
It's just
things.
kind of inconsequential. Like, who cares?
All right. Let's see. Good Guy Monsters. Ugh.
Wait, what?
I don't know.
Good guy, like your demon with a
Okay,
heart,
let me be
and
fair.
your vampire good guy.
I love Penny Dreadful. Loved it.
I did like Frankenstein in that.
I loved... I don't think there was anything I didn't like about Penny Dreadful.
Oh, there was a
It
lot of things I didn't like
loaded
about it.
with tropes. I mean, it was just...
I didn't like how the witches were done. I didn't like how it ended. There's a lot of things
Well,
I could
okay,
complain about.
you know what? I
don't know what this is.
I didn't like that the ending was so permanent or anything like that, but, it was the end of that arc period. And it's just like, all right, whatever.
They had so much supernatural, and they immediately went to
For
Catholic
me,
tropes.
for me, this
I don't
ties
know.
into the other idea we were talking about, the characters that don't make sense. In some ways, it can be done. You're good guy, monster.
Well, like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Sure, it needs to make sense in some way, but watch what you're doing. Because I've read many stories with this trope in it, and sometimes it's just taken too far.
Technically Suicide
It is-
Squad, by the way.
Okay.
Sure, that's fine. That's cool because those people weren't
Well, they weren't good guys in the end.
Right.
That's the thing. They were
and
still
that's
bad
the
guys.
thing.
I was
So-
going to say, these are mostly anti-heroes you're describing.
No. But here, that's the thing, and that's fine. When I have had a problem with it, it just doesn't feel acceptable when they go too far. When they make that vampire too good. When they make a demon who,
I'm a vegan vampire.
yeah.
Oh, God.
when
Oh,
they
my
make
God.
it- like I've read.
All right, Lewis. Such a whiny
Oh my
bitch.
god. They made you want to hate Lewis in interview.
No, see, I don't know if anyone's read the book.
Oh,
because I don't even know
Interview
how
with a
bad the
Vampire?
movie is. I've seen the movie, but in my head lives the book.
Okay.
Because it's just pages and pages, chapters upon chapters of his whining and wondering, what is he? What does it all mean? Should I end it all? I couldn't stand it.
And I've read books where demons are like scandalized by nudity, and I'm like,
Really?
you're not a demon. Like,
Right.
come on,
Man, learn some lessons from Mazikeen.
I mean, if you've been around for a few thousand years, I think you're over
Come
about
on,
everything.
You wouldn't have survived it at all in hell if that was the case. So fine in some senses. Yeah, you can give them some sense of morals or
Well,
something
that's
like
the thing.
that.
I don't
but
think I
come
mind them as
on.
anti-heroes. I don't mind the monster as an anti-hero.
I don't think they have morals.
I don't
they
think
have ethics.
But
But,
making
you know,
him as a
Whatever.
good guy, like
They have a code.
or like goody or something like that.
That's what I'm saying. The goody, like,
No,
no,
thanks.
dude, come on.
No.
Like, make it viable. Like,
Yeah.
make it to where somebody can accept.
like, how did you get out of hell acting like this?
Right. Well, they kicked him out. That's
Yeah,
how.
like-
Get out of here, you pansy.
They would have ate him. Are you
Exactly,
kidding
would
me?
have ate him exactly. Like, you would have never survived that place if this is how you were.
Put him back in the furnace and remake
Same
them.
reason America was colonized. Oh my God, those guys are irritating. Send them to America. But
So yeah, I mean, I don't hate the idea of it, but it needs to be believable.
all right, how about the falling in love with the unnoticed? The unassuming geek
The
or
plain
something
Jane.
like that suddenly, oh, I'm suddenly in love with you.
Can't buy me love.
Yeah.
Twilight.
There's, it's too much though. It's done so often, and then you're like, I don't know. I'm always like, for the person who was unnoticed all this time, and then suddenly you're noticed. I'm like, screw you. Like,
I agree.
Like, oh, suddenly you like me because I'm suddenly popular for some stupid unknown reason.
I don't know if you're
no
that unnoticed and that unpopular for that long. I don't think you're going to shoo away and have this great confidence.
No.
This,
like,
Here's my thing.
Molly Ringwald finally notices John Cryer. Forget yourself. Bye.
Right? No, here's my thing with this, is that...
I don't think you've lived as Sean Cryer. You might have a different opinion.
I just think it's bold. Like, I don't expect your characters to be physically perfect, and like they can have flaws. They can be hairy or have a beer gut or something. But why would you suddenly realize you've fallen in love with this person? Like,
well, why would that person now suddenly accept you after you shunned them for so long or whatever?
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, that's my thing. Is like,
have some self-esteem.
yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, your characters don't have to be perfect, but your other character should love them for their imperfections.
This makes me think of a different one. Now, it's not really a literary trope as it is a movie trope. It just drives me batshit nuts. It's like, not every character has to be as hot as they cast, and I know there's a minimum level, because it's like, people need to watch it, people need to pay for it,
Oh, like in movies, dorks
that's
are...
what I'm saying. Is
But
your character
Dorks
doesn't
are
have
out of my league when they're casting a movie.
But
Right.
but the thing is like Ready Player One. He might have been slightly soft in the cheeks, but he wasn't fat. That character was fat in the book.
Right.
He got himself in shape, but he was a bigger dude. Okay?
Right, they should have cast Jonah Hill.
The girl who was cast with a port stain, one, she was much more nervous and whatever about it than they had time to demonstrate in that movie. But she's a little too cute for the plain person that's
Right.
described in the book. It kind of takes away the emotional validation of them accepting and loving each other
Well,
and
that's
falling in love
Hollywood for
through, online, not
Right.
really knowing each other.
Yeah, but it's gross that they do that, I think.
It is gross.
That's
that
kind
they
of what
do
I'm
that.
saying. It's like, you don't need
But
to
they're
hot
not
up
selling-
everything.
No,
Right.
but Hollywood is not selling their story. They're selling sex. And that's basically what it comes down to.
And I'm not totally
With
against that.
literally everything,
I think-
Hollywood is selling sex. So it doesn't matter what your story is. When it goes to Hollywood, they're going to change it.
I'm not saying
so that
ugly
they're selling
people.
sex.
I'm just saying turn the volume down a little. Don't have to quite
Be
cast
real,
that high.
By all means. Like, and that's the thing.
I don't
is-
know. I don't mind an unattractive person in a role where an unattractive person is supposed to be portrayed.
I'm not describing
I
unattractive. I'm saying there's a whole realm of
And everybody's
playing.
really
No,
attracted to
here's
somebody.
my
I
problem.
think.
There's
I don't know.
4 to 6s
Here
who
is-
aren't being cast. You don't have to go to a 3.
My problem with the perfect character is not everybody finds somebody flawless to be attractive. You can
Right.
find things that are not considered flawless attractive. You can
I
find
find it disturbing. I find
heavier
flawless
heavier
disturbing.
thighs attractive, or
Yeah, no. I mean, if there's perfect symmetry and
it's
there's something
uncanny.
Yeah,
weird.
you end up looking like some kind of weird Barbie love
right.
doll.
But I mean,
Right.
that's the thing.
It's
It's like
very creepy.
your characters being overly perfect all the time. I feel like it makes it less realistic.
Right.
It makes it less
Well, yeah,
relatable.
that's the thing. Like, what was that movie? The female comedian. She's always talking about her vagina on Comedy Central.
There's like 9 of them. Let's narrow it down. Blonde, redhead,
Blonde,
brunette.
a little thick.
Okay, Amy
Schumer, yeah. She was in that.
Wow,
she-
you two are like right on the same wavelength. I
Okay,
wasn't getting
she was
that.
she was
I
in a
know my
rom
vagina
com.
comedian.
I totally forgot the name. I think Bill Hader was the name of the guy who was opposite of her. I think I got the right guy.
You got me, man. I don't watch your movies.
I don't know.
Oh, the movie with LeBron?
Yeah.
Train something.
Trainwreck. Yeah.
Yeah, you're married. I'm not.
Okay. Well, the thing is that I'm sure she struggles with weight. I know the industry wanted her to exercise and diet, whatever, get into the
I think
role.
she's perfectly attractive enough.
And that's what I was trying to say. She was playing a character even more thick, even less attractive than she was. It's like, did you really have to work that hard to get Bill Hader? I mean, really? I mean, come on. I don't think that most of the time I see her on camera, she looks that bad.
No, I think she's a perfectly attractive
Okay, but
person.
Hollywood standards on women is like literally you have to be.
What I'm
anorexic.
saying is it gets hard to buy the character they're selling when they're
I
casting
agree.
above
and here's
the degree.
The thing is that I don't even find a lot of these people that they cast to be that attractive. These overly thin women, like, I can be honest with you, there's not a single runway model that I was like, I gotta have her.
Well, no,
Because-
that's different. Runway models are hangers. That's literally.
I
They're
don't know
only
what
meant
that
to model clothes, not to model what women look
Hangers.
like in clothes.
That's funny.
No, that's an industry
No,
thing.
okay.
Seriously, they're meant to model the clothes, not what a woman looks like in clothes.
Okay.
I don't know why. I didn't make this industry.
But
I would get
regardless,
buxom,
there's
super hot
these-
women and be like, "You could look like this in our dresses." That's how I would sell it, but that's not how they sell it.
There's these insane standards on women, and for the most part, that's not what I feel people in general find attractive. I
Well,
mean,
especially these days, it's all about
men-
the ass.
Wide.
We're in the millennium of the
men
ass.
are a little bit more
Figure
shallow,
is
so
in.
maybe they are
do
drawn
like
to
butts.
those perfect. But I mean, I want like on women like thighs and an ass like that's. Like I don't know, I think women with a little bit of a curve to them is much more attractive.
10 years ago, you might have had a
Stick thin.
case, but society has moved. Hollywood may not have, but society has definitely moved.
Even guys, like I don't mind a beer belly on guys. Okay, no
I'm
beer
having
belly,
trouble with this
but-
whole belief in dad bod. I
The
don't buy
dad
it.
bod?
I don't
Oh,
buy it.
I love it.
I honestly think they're trying to sell us something.
Yeah, it's not a thing.
I think they're trying to like
fuck?
build up male confidence or something. I don't accept this.
Nobody
Oh,
actually
sorry.
likes it. It's a lie.
I forgot to watch my language. No, dude, I love dad bod. I have dated dudes with dad bod.
She may have, but I don't believe women as a collective.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
know,
having trouble
man.
buying
I've
it.
seen a lot of women who dig it.
Yeah.
It's probably true.
Oh, they're
Maybe it is.
falling all over
But I'm
me and my
having,
dad bod.
I'm having trouble accepting it. I don't know.
I dig
All right. So, what about the ridiculous airport rush?
In a comedy, sure.
No, this is the biggest one. And you know what? Maybe delayed gratification. Here's the problem. If stories were written like humans live lives, maybe you don't have a story. But maybe that's lazy writing. I don't know.
Wait, what?
But I'm trying to build up to it. All these rom-coms that end in the kiss and the declaration at the airport when they should have been tackled by security, which I think they're starting to introduce.
Yep. He's got a bomb. Get him.
Okay.
That is great. Actually, I now need to see that.
But the thing is, it all stems from something that happened at the beginning of the second act, maybe 35 minutes into the movie, right?
And now they're a stalker? Is that where you're going?
Was
No.
it the love at first sight trope that led
No,
to
no,
this
no.
trope?
Oh, no, that's 12 minutes
Right.
in. You got to establish a story within 12 minutes. No. What I'm talking about is around the 35-minute mark where somebody has a conversation and they say something and it's misinterpreted. Instead of going, hold on, what I meant to say is this, the other one storms off and they just go, oh, I should have said something else. She's still there.
Right.
You can follow her. She's in earshot. You can fix this right now. Like, I don't understand these people that like, well, she took that the wrong way. It's ridiculous. These entire setups are so artificial. I just think it's bad writing, personally.
Yeah, so basically I think if you're going to do the stupid airport rush, it needs to be in a funny way, and there needs to be a slow clap involved.
Yeah, I mean, it can't. You can't mean it
The
seriously.
slow clap is a must.
You can't mean
Like,
it seriously.
Don't even try to do it without the slow clap.
You know who I'd like to see
This
in the
is your
airport
moment,
rush
slow
scene
clap
is
guy.
Betty White rushing to the terminal or something like that. That would be good stuff.
She'd be like letting out curse words.
But honestly, this is no different than someone bursting into the
Stealing
church
somebody's
right as they're
scooter.
like, does anyone object to this marriage or whatever? It's the same scene. And in fact, they've actually created a new trope in making fun of or trying to avoid this trope where they walk into the wrong wedding.
Yeah.
It's
I've
like,
seen
oh
that.
god, it's so overdone. And if anyone ever did this, no one from that friends or family on either side of the aisle is going to talk to you ever again. You've just cost them $16,000. Okay,
Right.
Nobody wants. I mean, seriously, nobody does this stuff. Nobody.
Okay.
I've never seen it my entire life in any wedding I've ever been to.
No, because you get your ass kicked, I think.
Right.
I mean, it's like. Have you ever been to a funeral where someone knocked over a casket? I'm sure someone's done it. I've never seen it.
Jesus.
That's never
Oh
happened.
my god, we didn't even think of that trope. That is a good trope.
Or spilling the ashes? When does that happen? Seriously.
Oh, God, what
But what
movie
you
was
do
that?
need
Meet
is-
the parents.
A lot of
you
them.
do need to cast Charlie Sheen snorting the ashes. Just saying.
Okay.
Well, the next
so,
scary movie.
So Love at First Sight
Part
we kind
9.
of addressed a little bit.
Right, yeah.
So, but I mean, yeah. No, it's not a thing.
Yeah, no.
What is?
Love at first sight.
Lust at first sight, I believe in.
Sure, absolutely.
Infatuation. Like, you can start with lust, you talk to them like, oh my god, I could actually
But that's it.
have a
You
conversation
can't
with this
possibly
person.
fall in love with somebody at first sight. You got to get to know somebody.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's not what love is. That's
I
chemicals.
Love you 2 weeks in.
No, you can have a crush, you can be infatuated.
Love.
I'll stick around until you're impregnated.
But yeah, that's you,
Yeah, it's overdone. It's bullshit. No one's buying it.
Right. It's a load of crap.
Right. I mean, it's as much fiction as, dragons and fairies. Whatever.
You shut your mouth. Dragons are real.
I wish. A mile in someone else's shoes.
oh yeah, that's the whole like 13 going on 30 or big or any of the body swap ones.
Oh,
or,
I see. Mm-hmm.
Where they do the body switch and they have to figure out what it's like. What was that?
Oh, Freaky Friday.
What was that one with the fountain? The guy ends up at he switches places with his friends and like he's in bed with the guy's wife.
Oh yeah, what was that?
We didn't really
I don't
discuss this
remember.
one, but I literally hate this trope.
What?
Body swap?
Mile in somebody else's shoes, body swap, all that. I hate it. I despise this trope. I haven't seen a single movie I like with it.
Honestly,
I don't hate the concept, but yeah, no, they're rarely done well.
I liked Big.
What was the oh my god.
It was good then,
Well, then it was good.
Oh my god.
but we didn't have a lot of good then.
I mean, come on.
Schneider. What's his name?
Oh yeah,
Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider, please.
hot chick.
Rob
The hot chick,
Schneider.
yes.
That was a great movie.
I
You
wouldn't-
can't even say you didn't like that movie.
Okay, you went way too far.
No, that was a great movie.
It was a mildly
Great,
entertaining
huh?
movie.
Great.
I enjoyed
Wait,
watching
wait.
once.
You used great to describe a Rob Schneider movie.
He cracked me the fuck up in that one and Deuce Bigelow. Those
I was going to
movies
say,
were
I actually
hilarious.
preferred him in The Animal.
The Animal was kind of funny.
Wait, the animal? I don't know if I remember.
He gets a bunch of body parts after an accident.
Oh.
That was kind of
I
funny.
don't think I saw that one, but he was hilarious. in those others.
That was in that
I don't
age
care
of
what
ridiculous
anybody
slapstick
says.
comedy.
That dude cracks me up, even in his Adam Sandler movies and everything. The Chosen
Is
One
Rob
he
Schneider
did.
now a trope?
Yeah, he's kind of the funnier version of Dave Kroll or whatever it is. Or
Oh god, that dude is not funny.
so yeah.
That dude is not funny. He creeps me out.
No, he is.
I don't. I
don't
do
know
never.
who that
Oh, dude, he gets all kinds of shows, and I don't.
Although
get
you know what?
Because he's not
You
funny.
know what? No, I take that back. Off camera, he is.
Yeah.
What was
Maybe
that?
that's why he's good at
No,
talking
there's
people
a
and stuff.
cartoon about
Yeah,
going
Big
through
Mouth.
Yes, that is actually pretty good.
Is it? I won't watch it.
It's weird, but it's entertaining.
Okay, next trope is jerk changes for a girl.
You mean Dane Cook?
Oh, okay. Employee of the month, all that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like okay,
No, literally every
cheater,
Dane Cook
slut,
movie ever.
douchebag.
Did anybody notice I watched too many
Yeah,
movies?
Here's the thing. Nobody's changing for anybody. You either change for yourself or you're not changing at all.
But he
It's
becomes
bullshit
a
trope.
better person and
No, he
grows
doesn't.
up.
No, he
Gosh
doesn't.
darn it, he learned.
He's not becoming a better person for sex.
He got head
He's
cashed
gonna
you,
cheat
damn
on
it.
her like he did everybody
He
else.
found
He's-
the initiative
he's probably
to
gonna
move
give her
ahead.
herpes in the process. It is what it is. No one's changing for another person. You change for you, or you don't change at all.
No, you change, and then she doesn't like you anymore, anyways.
There's that too.
Well, she has big ears, so.
Here's the thing: either you like somebody for who they are, or
Or it's never
or
going
you
to
don't
work.
like them. I mean, that's basically what
If you
it
have to
is.
change, it's never going to work.
Yeah, you change for you. Be who you want to be.
I
and
think
then that's
everybody's
it.
done this in dating world, but yeah.
Okay, hero with a dark past.
Don't they all?
My only issue with this, because I mean,
What
everybody's
defines
got.
a dark past?
Well, here's my thing. Everybody has some character building crap in their past, right?
I mean,
my only issue with this trope comes in when somebody has been through so much shit in their life that there's no way they've made it to this point being some sweet, sunshiny, innocent.
Oh, no.
You know, like, that stuff changes you. That stuff hardens you. There is no way that this person is like some trusting, innocent sweetheart after being through so much shit.
No, he's either
So it
a
just
hard ass or
depends.
very morally flexible.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is you have to understand that giving your character a dark past is fine, but they have to have the scars to show it.
Well, I think when it's used correctly, I guess. It's the hero in the moment, right? I mean, they're not really a good person necessarily.
Well, they don't
Like that
have to be a
one
bad
movie where
person.
Nicolas Cage comes back from hell to save his daughter or whatever.
Oh my
You know,
God!
You know what I'm saying?
Drive Angry.
Yeah. He was a bad person.
Oh
but
my
he
God!
was
That
the
is such
hero
a
of the
gloriously
moment.
bad movie.
You know,
I
so-
loved it.
So he comes back to save his daughter, but he's still a piece of crap. You know, I mean,
So is that movie, but somehow I love it.
I just feel like I don't feel like your character necessarily has to be bad,
right?
but some damage would be expected.
Sure. Okay.
So just,
what
I
about
would
like
say make it
Constantine? Right? I mean, Constantine turned from God or whatever like that, and he was guaranteed not to get. Or no, was it he tried to kill himself? Is that what?
Yeah.
he tried to kill himself.
Yeah. So
Is that really a dark past? I mean,
Yeah, technically
Well, he's
speaking,
grew
yeah.
up
I mean,
seeing
dark past. I
demons.
kind of feel like he was like
He
was
was-
a
Yeah, can you
villain for a
blame the
period.
dude?
No,
You've seen
he was-
demons all your life.
yeah, he
Can
was
you blame the
traumatized
dude
as
for
a
trying to kill
child.
Well, I'm not
himself?
saying he doesn't have scars, but when you say something like dark past, I'm picturing that he spent some time as a villain.
No. What I meant was like they abused by their parents.
Oh, okay,
Witnessed
so it may not
crime,
be their fault.
rape,
Oh, in that case,
abuse,
Lethal
those
Weapon.
kinds of things.
He's suicidal through all the movies because his wife died.
Right. So I mean, there's like you just got to be careful of how dark you make their past because you
Yeah,
have to
I don't-
understand those things.
Actually,
affect
all
you.
Mel Gibson
They
movies.
change you.
His wife dies, his kid dies, he needs revenge, he doesn't care if he lives or dies, and therefore he's super powerful.
He's like evil.
Braveheart, Patriot, literally any movie that you can name.
I don't mind the trope overall. It just has to
His
be done
career
well.
is a
and
trope.
I agree.
If you write the story
It
though,
really
and
is.
you're thinking Mel Gibson could be this character, you wrote it wrong. So
I was going to say,
Rewrite
they're
the
all,
story.
every role he's been cast in has been, Mad Max. Literally, I cannot think of a movie he's been in that doesn't fit that role.
it might explain a
Forever
little bit
Young.
of his off-camera life.
Is that his
Oh, no,
agent's
no.
fault?
That
How
actually
did that
does fit that
happen?
role.
And maybe he's just
Anyway.
typecast.
That's weird.
Anyway, so the hero with the dark past is not a bad thing. I fully accept this trope, but make it make sense.
Right.
The Mary Sue.
I don't. You're saying
The
this
Mary
is
Sue-
too perfect.
The super perfect character, always has the best intentions, loved by everybody, and completely unrelatable.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like what? The good girl in Greece?
Like, yeah, I mean, like the perfect. It's a thing.
Well,
The perfect,
Superman,
flawless
completely
character.
unrelatable.
Okay,
Yes,
that's
Mary
fair.
Sue.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And that guy would be corrupt as hell.
Oh yeah.
Exactly the point.
Yeah, he'd be more
Yeah,
like
it's unrealistic.
like Will Smith in that terrible
Exactly.
movie.
That's what I'm saying. You just need the
Which started
right
off well.
amount of darkness, and like
Your character has to be believable. I think that's what it boils down to.
they make it out
Nobody's
like
perfect.
characters like him would feel a sense of responsibility, and I don't think that's true. I don't think they would. I think that they're like, oh, why can't you just fix things yourself?
No, they might grow into it, but
No.
they wouldn't be born that
With
way.
great
So-
power comes great
I
responsibility.
don't think that most people feel that way.
No, I have no problem with somebody
How
I
many
think that
making
there can
growth
be...
to that.
how many superhero billionaires are there?
Okay.
None. Just saying.
Well, the
Oh,
billionaires
in real
of this
life or in
country
comics?
are
in
evil.
real life.
Oh.
In comics, they're everywhere. In real life, they're nowhere.
In real life, they're the villains. Anyway,
Well, you know, often in the comics too.
listen, they're the
Actually.
villains. So, but in the story, I feel like it's fine to have a character who's totally morally, on point with that. However, to think that Superman went through his teenage years without ever using that X-ray vision.
That's what I'm
bullshit.
saying.
He's a
That's
peeping
exactly
Tom.
what I'm saying.
Shit.
Superman's a
I'm
peeping Tom.
fine with someone going through Uncle.
How did the neighbors get cancer?
I'm fine with.
You're going to hell for that.
It actually was done and drawn together.
Oh, was it? I never saw drawn together.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But
Damn it!
that's the thing. You can't have an original idea. You can repackage it in a better way, but you can't have an original idea.
Mine would end up on Robot Chicken.
But no, I have no problem with Superman going through an Uncle Ben crisis and becoming a good person. I have no problem with that. But he is not born that way.
Yeah, just not perfect.
He needs to earn
Like,
it.
Well, we're going to go ask Uncle Ben, and we'll be right back.
Hey guys, if you like what we're doing and you want to support us, go to our website at thedarkandstormynights.home.blog and click on Support the Kingdom to check out merchandise and various ways to keep us going.
All right, guys. I guess we're back for the final section of our show today, which is going to be, I want to talk about some coincidences and ex machina, and maybe even some plot holes and inconsistencies that people suffer. I just got done patching an enormous plot hole in my story, and well, not just patching. I had to rewrite almost 4 entire chapters to fix it.
Wow.
I did not finish the 4 chapters. I'm still working on them. It is an enormous pain in the ass, and I wish I would have seen it earlier.
Yeah.
But I have noticed, especially in some of the crappy sci-fi shows I watch, I mean, they'll just leave gaping plot holes and stuff. Or sometimes they will use the ex machina or coincidence to patch it.
I'm not a fan of coincidences.
Well, especially if you're dealing with such a large world as the real world is, that there's so many people, so many things going on. What are the chances of any of this happening?
Like, take any rom-com set in New York that involves 6 friends.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, hey, there he is, walking across the street. Yeah.
Never.
That happened.
I don't care if you all live in the same city block. You're never seeing each other in New York.
Right.
It's insane.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean,
Unless you go to the same bagel shop at the same time.
I agree. It's annoying. It's bullshit. You see it as a blatant thing as a reader. I mean, as long as it smooths it over in the story, I'm fine with them here and there. If it's overused, come on. You know, like...
It's a device at this
Sure
point.
it
You know,
is.
it's
And I can buy it here and there, but for the most part, limit it at the very least.
her friend happens to be in the same place while the husband is cheating or something. It's always that. You know, if
Yeah.
it wasn't so commonly used, maybe.
That's what I'm saying. Limit
But
it. The
every
act of God,
time.
though...
Oh, yeah. That just means you painted yourself in a corner and you don't have any better
Oh,
ideas.
well, you know, okay. The rare ex machina, whatever, you know, it's best if it makes sense, you know, like, okay, I guess that could have happened, you know, but, you know, I don't know, the sort of destiny being there just when you needed it.
Actually, the biggest one I can think of is, it might be blasphemy to some people, but the giant birds or whatever the hell they were, hawks or eagles. That's what it was the giant eagles in Lord of the Rings.
That was a magic spell.
They were sent.
It saved them twice in the same story.
What my problem with it was they came way too fast. Like, I think
The eagles were sent, weren't they? By
In the
Gandalf?
movie.
they were summoned.
In the movie. But in actual written work, no. They weren't.
You know, I read the books when I was young, and I don't remember them at all.
Oh, God, they're so bad.
I
They
don't
were
really
just so
remember them
bad.
either.
But, yeah.
And nowhere is it introduced that there's these giant sacred beasts who are intelligent and are able to interact and have any connection at all. It's just bad.
Well,
Yeah,
but
suddenly,
in the movie,
eagles.
Gandalf summoned
Right.
them twice.
Yeah, no, in the movie it was more forgivable.
Magic, right.
But still, they were there awful fast for having been summoned by a moth.
I mean,
You know, like... You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous.
I could probably
Stop
think of
doing
20
it.
examples if I had more caffeine. But, yeah, no. It's,
Oh, yeah, well, the cops show up just when you ran out of bullets. You know, so much... No,
you
stop.
can have some coincidences, but...
This is
I
New
mean,
York.
here's
It
my
takes
thing.
4 hours for a cop to show up. You know?
Well, it's never less than 4 minutes. We know
some
that.
coincidences I'm fine with. Like, you're having a shit date, and your phone's dead, and your car dies, or blah, blah. Like, it's not like that's never happened. Like, that happens to people in real
Well, that's
life.
a bad coincidence. It's not like an ex machina or anything like that.
No, exactly.
Now, if that suddenly led to you meeting the guy of your dreams and you fall... No, that's not what happens. He's a greasy trucker with a pot belly and a drinking
I don't
problem.
know. Like, it is some coincidence. If it blends in with the story, fine, whatever. Big, huge act of God that frames your whole story,
Yeah,
not so much.
Or you know, it's halfway through it and you can tell the person just ran out of ideas and
Right.
threw it in there
Lost
to save
steam.
themselves.
That's what I'm saying. To me, it just sounds like they didn't
Writer's
know...
block happened right here.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, you can see it. Oh my God, you can see it. It's almost like they highlighted. I ran out of things to do here, so this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
You know, oh, you should have outlined.
I think that's where you go back and you rewrite the previous chapter so you're not in this scenario.
I agree.
agree.
Don't be lazy. Fix that shit. Don't go, actor.
So I mean, that's kind of
coincidence.
plugging a plot hole.
Yeah,
with
it's
an act of
addressing
God.
all three of these problems in one
Right.
thing. And like you said, it's an inconsistency with because in no other place do we know of these.
Yeah, but
Fantastic,
inconsistencies
intelligent
are
beings.
I
kind
mean,
of.
technically, they sort of say it with the horse, but that's not really well laid out.
Is Shadowfax intelligent?
He's one of the
I
sacred
mean, he's
beasts.
a great horse, but
Lord of the Horses or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but he
what
doesn't
does that
talk.
even mean?
He
Yeah.
doesn't talk. No.
I think he might whisper in
Hey,
his ear or
Gandalf,
something,
did
but,
you gain some weight?
You
That's
kind,
actually-
of, you kind of get the impression that Gandalf and Shadowfax can communicate.
And I assume that's because Gandalf is amazing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that would be my takeaway without any more explanation.
Lord of the Horses. Okay, what? I mean,
Yeah, most of what
slightly
I know-
nicer than other horses.
Most of what I know about
No.
Lord of the Rings that makes Lord of the Rings make sense doesn't actually take place in Lord of the Rings. It's all his written works aside from that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean, we'll pick on that.
inconsistencies are kind of a bigger overall issue aside from that.
Like Harry Potter.
No, like
Look,
I'm not going to.
I'm not bagging on Harry Potter, okay? But there is a lot of
I'll throw
inconsistencies
out,
we forgive because it's a
what's
great
that movie?
overall world.
It pissed me
Yeah.
off right off the rip in Underworld.
What's that?
Inconsistencies. Your vampire is, immortal and all strong, but you stabbed her in the shoulder and she passed out while driving. Like,
Was there extreme blood loss or something?
She was stabbed in the shoulder through the roof of the car. No, come on, she's a vampire.
Well, not to mention but
Well, yeah, but they run on blood.
Don't they? Yeah, I was gonna say, don't they heal as they drink blood? So why aren't you driving around with extra blood packs? You
She's
know,
not a human right next
or
to her.
yeah, suck on Bob, stick a straw on him, and go to town. You know.
Anyway, so I don't know, that pissed me
Yeah,
off.
but I
right
did.
off the bat.
I liked. That's another one. I liked Underworld, but yeah, there were inconsistencies
Sure.
and stuff that you just.
The
forgave.
first Underworld was
It's
passable.
one of the things that will tick me off.
I enjoyed it when first time I seen it.
Enough to stop reading a story. And honestly, I will put up with a lot of crap out of a story because I live with my nose in a book.
Yeah.
But yeah, inconsistencies in a sci-fi or fantasy story. You have created this world. You made the rules. All you have to do is obey.
Oh, that is a big one.
Obey your own damn rules.
All right. I do not want to continually bag on Harry Potter because I really do love the series and I think she's a good author, even a great author in many ways. But it was they like to say that she dreamt it all in her car and had this all grand plan laid out. She might have had a wonderful outline, but she did not have all 7 books written. There's no effing way because it's way too inconsistent. There is 4 different kinds of dead people in there, and the whole thing makes no sense. You have ghosts, you have paintings, you have the people beyond the black veil. You got they're summoned back. Are they shades? Are they ghosts? Are they memories? The whole wand thing. There's so many different versions of death in there, and none of it makes any sense.
I get some of it. Look, I'm a world builder. That is my forte. That's what I do best. Right.
But if you're going to have magic, it follows rules.
But I do world build to death. In fact, to the point to where it's taken me years to world build.
Right.
The worlds I'm writing in. And I realize that some writers don't work like that. There's
Right.
people who just write. They just go to town.
I get that, but if you're going to make a sequel, stay consistent with the
Right.
rules you already established.
I've
It
come to the
doesn't
point.
matter how you write. It matters that you follow your own damn rules.
Sure, have another notebook sitting next to you where I made something up. Let's put that in there. And then
Find
when
it.
you refer to it again, I know how this works.
Yeah.
Because it's your world. You should know your world.
I might give
Right.
you a mulligan on a retcon if you give me a good enough explanation somewhere down the line, but you can't keep retconning. You can't.
Yeah, I kind of
I
get though if you
agree.
did come up with a better idea later, what I'm saying?
And you could explain it.
How
You
they
know
do
what?
it?
If you can
well,
work it in there, more power to you.
Harry couldn't do it because he's not that. He's not as powerful. But
Oh God, that power of love protection on him that never made sense that they
But-
kept trying to redefine.
But Harry Potter, Gandalf, he can do it because he's powerful. Dumbledore.
Okay, so yeah. So you're saying there's a new rule for this wizard because he's more powerful.
Well, I'm just saying, if you're going to do that,
Yeah.
give me a good reason why.
Right.
Yeah, no, I like the sword and sorcery realm of fantasy, and I do write in it, and it is hugely important for me that I know how these things work. Some people are of the opinion of it's magic, It just it just does.
No,
I've seen
magic
stuff written
still
that
has
way.
rules.
I've seen stuff written that way where it's magic. I don't have to
Anything
think about
goes.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that
really.
one as a reader, that's not very believable to me.
Yeah, and it's not fun.
I mean, if I was 11, maybe, but I'm not 11. Okay, and honestly, you want to be open to a larger audience than that. Even if you're writing young adult, a lot of adults watch that or read this.
And
you know?
even if anything goes a certain way.
You don't have to
you know?
over-explain it.
Like,
in fact, you're better not to.
sure,
That's fine,
but there's still
you
a pattern.
need to internally know this
Right.
is how this works.
So that when you do offer any knowledge of that, it's consistent.
Correct.
So that like they can kind of intuit it, even though you're not
Right.
just filling them
Even
with
if
exposition
you're
of
not
your
spelling it
world.
out in the story, you need to know how things work on your end as the writer to avoid the inconsistencies in the future.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I know. Like, excuse me, jeez. I know that not everybody's gonna work the way I do, where I've got books and books and books of shit that I've written. That is just, this is how this works. This is this planet. This is this law of physics that it, works off of or violates or anything like that. But this is why it works that way. I get that, but just kind of keep track. Don't.
Yeah.
I
mean, and sure, some people write like super complicated stories and things like that, and it's you have to frame out your rules. You just have to. I don't think there's a way around
Right.
it.
Yeah, I agree.
If it's a simple story, fine. But if you have anything that's remotely complicated and you can't easily keep track, freaking write it out. I mean, have your set of rules. Inconsistencies are one of one of the few things that really irk me.
I will say that's one of the things I started appreciating about the Marvel Universe when we started making the movies. Because at first I was a little upset by the Marvel Universe. A lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, Marvel's great," but in the beginning, when they started doing it, I'm like, "This isn't the what I grew up on." Because they were writing.
Well, they started with Iron Man, so
they were writing the era of comic books that I grew up with. That,
at what point were you having a problem?
And because they changed things, it didn't follow the comics. But then they did something that the comics didn't do. They made a cohesive storyline. They all, for a reason, the Kree blood and all this stuff.
They tried with the comics,
at first,
but
I'm like, what the hell are you doing with this Kree thing? And then as it came around and they made a cohesive way everything worked, I appreciated that. I appreciated this little detail that kind of, even though, yes, it's like you just kind of made up a detail to make it, have a reason for all this stuff, it still kind of made it all work.
Right.
Where in the comics they didn't really offer that. There's like this disjointed reason why 30,000 heroes all have different powers and the way they all work, And
yeah, but they're all technically separate stories in a shared universe, so that's a little bit different. But I get what you're saying.
But I don't know. It just made it a little more believable, And sometimes it's all it takes. It's just this little detail.
Yeah, some
just because you
connection.
said it so is enough,
Right.
So
Yeah, I guess what that comes down to is you got these characters moving about the world, and really you just want to tell their adventure and how the character grows and all that. But along the way, I think you lose sight of the fact that if you're going to have something slightly supernatural or aliens or whatever, the world itself is a character. And
Right.
you've got to know that character.
Yes, absolutely. And here's the thing is that as a writer, you kind of have to take that seriously because your readers are involved.
Right.
They're living in this world. They're experiencing this world and these characters. Those kinds of things that don't make sense is something that's going to stand out to them. Even if it's something that you brushed over, even if it's an inconsistency you created during the editing process, where you went back and changed something and now it doesn't fit. Like, you really need to make sure that everything is cohesive and works correctly because your readers will be immersed in the story, and that inconsistency is going to stick out.
Well, I think that the world you create is an integral piece of your characters' personalities. That they've been living in this world that's shaped who they are and stuff like that. So if there's something, you may not want to think of, like you were saying with Harry Potter, that there's all these different types of death and everything like that, and these kids would get to know that. They would understand that there's all these different, why does it work this way, and they might be asking questions about that stuff, and it might shape the way they look at the world.
No one addresses it ever.
Right. But you would, because kids at that age
Are curious.
they want to know,
Right.
why is there ghosts? Why are some people die? Why are some people just always gone? They're going to want to know this stuff. And I'm not saying ask all those questions in the story, but it's definitely something that...
At least have the question asked.
yeah, or,
Even if it's not answered.
something,
Address it.
or, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to keep banging on, but Lord of the Rings actually did one thing right with this. And that when he wrote The Hobbit, it was an innocent little fairy tale. And then he wrote The Lord of the Rings, a much serious drama. It's a whole different scale. And he realized there was this huge inconsistency between The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, and he retconned it. He actually republished The Hobbit as a second edition and changed a few words here and there, and it completely changed everything. And
I can respect that.
And basically what it was is that The Hobbit, the way it was written, made no sense with The Lord of the Rings until you understood one simple fact. The entire Hobbit story didn't take place. It is Bilbo's
telling.
retelling.
Yeah.
And it's like that. I didn't know that. So to me, it was jarring. But once it was pointed out to me, I'm like, okay,
And
I get it now.
I love a hero's telling.
I took
like,
it literal, and that's how it was originally written.
Like the 300 is a hero's telling, and a lot of people,
Sure.
and Beowulf are hero's tellings.
I liked Beowulf better, but all right.
And but they're heroes tellings. They're bullshit, you know. But I like them as the bullshit they were. I like them as a hero's telling, but I think a lot of people didn't understand that those were hero's tellings, just like The Hobbit is a hero's telling of the tale. And when people don't get that, I think that the story's lost on them, or they find the faults in it, and it's just like, you can't, because I think that, in fact, there's a certain amount of forgiveness given to the story in that regard, because heroes are liars. They lie about, they embellish, and they,
Right.
Well, with The Hobbit, it was brilliant retcon, and I think it's
Yeah,
not just forgivable, it's laudable.
Yeah.
But as far as, like, Beowulf and 300, that's kind of on the viewer. I mean, the cinematography alone should have told you
Well,
that.
I feel like 300 was a little more blatant or whatever. I think that Beowulf, it could have been the Bard or something like that, but there should have been a little more clarity, because I have heard a few people be like, I hated Beowulf. I'm like, how can you hate Beowulf? Beowulf's amazing, you know, but... You know, they didn't get that it's a hero. Oh, he fought sea serpents? Well, no,
With a knife.
That didn't really
While
happen,
swimming.
but it's a hero's telling, you know, it's bullshit.
Right.
It's not supposed to be taken completely seriously. That's what they did back then. Everybody was a hero,
Right.
you know?
It's like allegory or whatever, right?
Right, yeah. Yeah, he was probably just a great fishing trip.
Right.
You know?
Caught an eel.
Right, yeah. I battled 30 sea serpents. It was one eel, Beowulf. Calm down. All right, and it wasn't even delicious. So.
Right. So it's like, you know, he's talking about the size
Took a
of
lot
the
of salt.
package or whatever.
Right, yeah. 3 feet long. Pequeño quiblero. Like, yeah, I don't know. But, yeah, that's the thing. You can have that, right? I think in the hero selling is the one instance where inconsistency is a little okay, or Ex Machina is a little okay, because it's bullshit to begin with.
Right. It's a tale. It's
Right.
a fairy tale.
Yeah, I think a good setup will save the reader that frustration.
Yes, yeah, and that's the thing. Okay,
Yeah,
so if you
make it
can
clear.
give me a better explanation as to why the Ex Machina or coincidence happened, i.e., heroes telling in this case, or
But I'm saying to somehow make it explicit that that's what you're...
right,
Yeah,
yes.
I agree. You need to make it clear
Because
that
otherwise, it's just like a ripoff. I think you
Right.
know. So I don't know. That's all there really is to it.
Yeah, I think so.
Good episode, guys.
Yeah.
See you all next time.
Hey, thanks for listening. Check us out on Twitter at TheDarkStormyK1 and visit our webpage, thedarkandstormynights.home.blog. Thank you.